Yes, Paxton people, welcome back. Talking Points again. I'm SUBSRCRIBE for life. It's Thursday. Oh, music in the background. That's not me. Yes, Paxton people, welcome back. Talking Points. Is someone's got something in? I know it is me. I know
it's me.
Sorry,
it's
people.
It's me.
Oh, listen to that. See, we're all confused here. Anyway, let's just put the bloody intro music on. Talking Points. Where is that? It's here. Welcome. Bit unorganised today, didn't we? But you know what it's like here, Paxton Road.
It's just different.
Hello, welcome to Talking Points, Paxton Road TV, PRTvSpurs, all kinds of names for us. I'm SUBSRCRIBE for life. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, and the comment section as well. No problems. Very confusing today. Anyway, people, welcome. Let's add in the people in this stream. There's one there. There'll be another. Oh, he's gone. He's disappeared. Is he coming back? No. My mate Sid was gone. My mate Sean's here. Welcome, Sean. Let's get on with it. How you doing?
I'm fine. You?
I was a bit under the weather yesterday, still kind of recovering today. I have no clue if it's just a cold, whether it's COVID or it's flu. It's just feeling a lot. You know what I mean? Everything's just confused into one, not feeling very well. But the show, as they say, must go on. International break is coming to an end. Thank God. But a lot's been happening since we last spoke. So yeah, it's interesting times, very interesting times. And as we can see, or maybe not see until I put this up, what's the points in that? Oh, I love myself. Sometimes I have to give myself one of them. I do every now and again. Give myself one of them on the back because I come up with. No, I'm not. That's only jokes, people. It's just like, you know, it's words, isn't it? Yeah, so we've had Everton points taken off them. 10 points. They're appealing that, obviously. Firstly, about that. Oh, hold on a minute. He's waiting patiently. He's waiting behind. He's got his arms folded. He was like, I'm gonna sit here and wait till he sees me. I saw you. I just was like, I was just trying to sort the show out. Welcome, Sid.
Thank you. Good afternoon, boys. Good evening. How are we?
We're good.
All good.
Real good. So we're just saying, obviously, name of the show. I can't even remember what I called it now. I'm not feeling very well, by the way. I'm gonna say that, people. I'm not feeling 100%. So if the unprofessionalism comes about, it's because of that. What's the point in that? Everton, 10 points deducted. Then we go back to 2007 with the old Harry Redknapp, brown paper bag jobbies, Defoe to Portsmouth. Probably at the time we knew that was some dodgy deals because it's Portsmouth he was going to. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But 2007, we're in 2023. Man City have got 115 charges. Chelsea are doing whatever the hell they want. Roman Abramovich is telling people that he'll go and get their dads back. What's going on? And Tottenham Hotspur, £7 million for Defoe, because Harry's taking a little bunk. They were all doing that back in them days. It's just all craziness. So, what I wanted to discuss was what's going on with all of this. Is this the FA, Premier League trying to come down hard on those that they can come down hard on? Because it don't seem to be working for Man City with 115 charges. Not one of them stuck, but then they're going to push that till whenever. Or were we just unlucky? Is it just a bit of you know what I mean? We're unlucky. Unlucky Spurs, as they say. Sean, my friend, talk to me about the points deduction for Everton, and then now that leads into Spurs, and whether you think there is going to be anything that we're going to have to concern ourselves with.
I have to say, I have a lot of sympathy for Everton at the moment because I think 10 points for one transgression, and we're talking £20 million, which is in a Premier League team budget is buttons, to be honest. Seems very harsh indeed. Very harsh indeed. There is precedent, I believe. Luton Town had it happen to them but then they were involved in multiple transfers, which were a bit dodgy and But I think it's there seems to be a campaign against us. We can't have anything nice, it seems, in the world of Spurs. It's not enough that we lose our most influential defender and half our team disappears for a few weeks. But they want to drag our name through the mud. I mean, you wonder whether Man City have got some kind of black book that they'll just throw out a charge. They'll just say, "Oh, what about this?" to try and deflect away from the 115 charges hanging over them, when they should be playing in the National League. If this is what it's coming to. I think a financial penalty would be more than enough for Everton, to be fair. And like you, I can't believe they're going back to 2008. I think this transfer.
2007. It said
2007 is even worse. Yeah,
2007-8 season. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, come on. I mean, it was discussed at the time. If you go in, Mitchell Thomas, right, is the unlicensed agent, former player of ours, who's supposed to have caused all this shenanigans. But, even it's mentioned in his Wikipedia page, which I've just looked up. So it's not like it's not known. To me, it seems like spite, and it just seems there are elements within the mainstream media who just do not like Tottenham Hotspur, and they'll find anything to have a go at us. I mean, they were absolutely all over it when we lost to Chelsea and followed it up with a loss to Wolves. I hope that nothing comes of it and we just move on, and the FA get on with dealing with the real criminals. Ones like 115 charges, not declaring what they paid their manager back in 2012 or whatever it was, or whatever the latest shenanigans that have been uncovered at Chelsea. No, I'm not having it, and I just it stinks to me. It just stinks to me, to be honest.
Somebody's come down on the Premier League in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's the Premier League self whatever they're saying about themselves, self-correcting themselves, if this is the case. But obviously, that 10 points to Everton was quick. It was like, right, we found you guilty of a charge, like he said, overpaying by, was it 20 million or something? I can't remember what the figures are, but nowhere near the sort of figures that you'd start thinking, right, 10-point deduction here, considering all the stuff that's going on. And even this season with Chelsea, being able to spend in 1 year nearly £1 billion, giving contracts to players over 8-10 years to be able to get over the FFP, and trying to find loopholes, whether they're legal or illegal. They're finding these loopholes, but nothing seems to be coming of that. And yeah, like you said, 2007, we got this comment here. Was it saying they're going to go? It was quite funny. Where was it? We're going to go back to 1905 to go and find out what's going on with Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? Here we go. What's the point, FC? News just in, the FA looking into a few possible wrongs committed by Newcastle in 1905, and if found guilty, Newcastle will be relegated to Sunday League football. Let's go back
to 1919 and the mystery of how Arsenal got into the first division.
It's
when they finished sixth. You know what I mean? Let's get ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And like I said, for Tottenham to be caught up in this from a charge from 2007, nothing recent. Just doesn't make any sense. Knowing what we know about them days anyway, this is crazy. Sid, how are you feeling about all this? Do you think Everton have been wrong, hard done by, wronged, considering what's happening with them, Manchester City and Chelsea, as we've talked about? And what's Spurs getting in? What we got to do with this? What we got, charge from 2007? Come on.
I think Liverpool are behind it, aren't they? Because they don't want Everton to move to the new stadium, have a bigger ground than Liverpool, because they're probably thinking, hold on, we're winning everything here. They're not winning anything. And how have they got a better ground, bigger, whatever? I think it's just ridiculous, man. I think, to pick on Everton and just to say, you know what, you've done this. When, like Sean said, like you've said, they've had bigger fish to fry, and they've bottled it, absolutely bottled it for the last how many years in terms of Chelsea, Man City. And they've not done anything. Yet they decide, you know what, let's pick on Everton. Let's deduct some 10 points already now, because they don't have the lawyer power or the law power behind them like Man City and Chelsea do. Because City have got probably one of the most richest lawyer in the world or whoever to deal with their issues. So FA are probably thinking, shall we tackle him on, or shall we just do Everton? It's a bit like FA Cup tie, in it, when a non-league team gets one of the Prem boys. It's that scenario now with these lot. They're thinking City or Everton. We can handle Everton. We can't do City. So let's deal with Everton. And I hope that 10 points gets overturned, because they don't deserve it. Absolutely. It's ridiculous, because everyone should get behind them now and say, you know what, we're backing you. And then Leicester and who's the other two? Who's the other two? Come on, help me out. Leicester,
What?
Burnley,
Leeds, all coming out saying that we're going to sue them for 400 million. Do you know what? Allow it, man. Why are you jumping on bandwagons for now? You know what? When the man's down already, just go and stick a foot in. And then the FA have thought, then we don't like Tottenham. Sky, what have you got planned that we could do for Spurs? And I bet you they've pulled it all up and they've said, right, look, we've got this one. We've even got videos of it, a brown envelope. We've got everything. We've got pictures. We've done undercover shit. Do you want it? Yeah. Because we can't talk about Harry Kane now because he's left Spurs. We can't talk about them being top of the league now because they're not. What can we talk about? Yes, let's bring them into disrespect now, disrepute now, and let's try and do them over. Football is not, I think someone's put in a comment, football is now becoming an absolute joke. You know what I mean? You might as well get the Chuckle Brothers now in coming to say, to me, to you, to me, to you, to me, to you. It's just bollocks, bullshit, man. And it's rubbish. Football's just, it's all becoming political and all bullshit. And the teams that are rich, let them get richer, let them win everything. It's rubbish, absolute rubbish.
Because football is a business, and it is a business, particularly in the event of the Premier League, 1992 circa, whatever that was. It's a business, and it's a growing business. You can see the amount of money that these clubs can make, but the FA in general, the FA Premier League in general can make, and then the spin off from that. So they're not going to do those things to Manchester City, because Manchester City having won 5, 6 Premier Leagues in the last whatever many years it's been, 8 years. Chelsea having done what they've done, the money that they've got, they ain't going to do anything to those teams. So it appears they'll go after teams that, because like I said, if they go after Manchester City, let's say they find them guilty with all these charges that they've got, the work back from that, are they going to take leagues away from them? Do they take trophies away? What do they do? They don't. If you're just going to say relegate them to League One or Championship, in essence, then teams can start saying, hold on a minute, but if they did this, and this, and they were able to acquire these players under circumstances that weren't legal, then maybe they might not have won the league. And that would be the question. That's definitely going to be an argument for teams who came second, whoever it was. That could be for Liverpool, that could potentially be for Arsenal, blah, 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 blah. So it could be a real can of worms being opened. If they go back to 2007 and start digging up what potentially happened then, as I've already talked about at the top of this show, and we kind of know ourselves, there was a lot of dodgy stuff going on. And I'm not saying the stuff that we did wasn't dodgy. You know, if you start getting unsolicited agents, whether or not it was kind of like, we did quite, whatever it was, that's an offence. So it should be taken into account. But I thought it was, looking from what they've said, the FA's known about it. They haven't taken any action that was deemed necessary at the time. So all this now just seems like, right, we're putting ourselves we've been put in a position, we've got to be seen to be doing something. We're not going to get Manchester City. We're not going to get Chelsea. Everton, they've been struggling the last few years. 10 points off. They're going to go down. But if they give them back the points, again, it opens up another can. Someone was saying on a podcast that I was watching the other day, the teams in those areas now that they've seen that they've got them 10 points deduction, right, they might start planning for eventualities. They might start, right, we need to now do this in the transfer window because Everton have been brought. There's things that's going to happen that's a knock-on effect of that. So if they just give them the 10 points back, and they've got to do it very soon. They've got to do it like really soon. They can't wait. And the same thing for us. They can't wait around thinking, "Oh, we've got this charge hanging over us," and then we get to something like February. Right, we're going to do X amount of points. That's just not on. So it's just it's a mess. And I think it's the Premier League's own doing, because they've let teams like Manchester City, whether they're guilty or not, I don't know, but they've let them get away with it for this long, that now if they start charging people, there's going to be a lot of recourse because of that. What do you think the punishment would be? Would you think it might just be, because they've been talking about, oh, it could be quite serious here, breaches and this. Well, what do you think they're going to do if they do anything?
Listen, whatever the law says and whatever the ruling is, if you're found guilty and the punishment is already probably set down, written in black and white, then that's what they're going to have to give it. And that's what they're going to have to punish Spurs by if they find them guilty. But wasn't that already looked into back then? And we were clear of everything. So now... That's
what I thought. I don't know the whole details, but that's
what I'm aware. Sean might have a better idea as well. But as far as I'm aware, it was all done and cleared and we was all good. So whatever punishment, then if that's the case, then I'm sorry, but everybody else has to be looked at. Chelsea, Man City, it's got to be done. Everyone's done something along the lines, man. I remember when we were looking at players and Liverpool nicked the players' offers, or Chelsea nicked them, or whoever. Everybody somewhere's done something dodgy, right? Where are they going to draw the line? Where are they going to draw the line? Because you're going to open up a lot of, worms. It's going to be mental. You might as well forget football for 2 years. Cancel the Premier League. Let them deal with this one. Because you got VAR that shit. Referees that are shit. You got an FA that couldn't run a fucking brothel. So now what you're going to have? Fucking, might as well cancel the Prem. Forget it.
Far too much money in the Prem. Far too much money. Hence the reason why I think some of this is a bit of a show on the Premier League's part, because they have to be seen as to have some sort of authority. They can't just have teams running, riot over them and just kicking the can down the road. But there's a few comments in here. Too much politics in football now. All the socialist bullshit is ruining the game. It is ruining the game. How do you think this is gonna pan out for the rest of the season? As Sid's just said, Sean, VAR's been absolutely pathetic. The referees are coming out and basically saving themselves. They're not gonna throw themselves under the bus or throw their mates under the bus. It seems like everybody's kind of almost protecting themselves in a sense. They're doing that. The FA may be looking at protecting themselves because they've been bit of a laughing stock, because Manchester City are laughing at them. If I was Manchester City's lawyers, they're just going to keep pushing and keep pushing. Chelsea have got so much money, even with the new guy that they've got in there, he's taking the piss out of them. So they've got to do something, and that's why I think it's a lot to do with that. But what do you think they could actually do to Spurs?
Well, it's clear they could take points from us. I mean, and it seems that the set mark is 10 points. I mean, the problem is that points are won and lost on the field of play, and I don't think they're actually, it's a nonsense. If clubs are, I've always said, if clubs have transgressed the rules and the laws of the game, you strip the titles, you relegate, and it's only then that you think about introducing points penalties. And I don't mean that, strip the titles and you award it to the team that came second. You just have it blank. It was not awarded, or an asterisk saying the title was stripped from this team for financial irregularity. I just think it's an absolute nonsense. It pisses off us as the fans. We're not responsible for this financial shenanigans. Yet it's we who suffer. We who suffer, who see our clubs relegated when they should have been relegated, or it's an absolute nonsense. I would rather, as I say, I would say strip titles, relegation, and I mean proper relegation, like they did to Rangers in Scotland, to the bottom of the league, and if then significant fines. Manchester United had a FFP fine of £250,000 6 months ago. No points taken for Manchester United. So where's the levity? Where's the equality? Where's it's a nonsense, an absolute nonsense, dragging things out. And I just feel that there are some clubs who are worried that they're gonna lose points, and they're all keeping a black book of what things that the clubs have done in the past. There should be a statute of limits on what's gone on. I mean, if after so many years, you got nothing. The only reason there appears to be that they've dug this up is that there's some new evidence. Now, the trouble is, it's in an article in the Times, and as the Times is a Murdoch publication, I wouldn't wipe my arse with it. So I can't see it online because it's behind a paywall, and I fucking hate that organisation with every fibre of my being. So I don't know. If someone's seen the Times article, then maybe they can tell me what this new evidence was. It's nonsense. It's a nonsense, and it's part of what's become a nonsense of a season. VAR is just another piece of nonsense.
It's making football become farcical, because you're right. So much of what you said there, it's not on. It really isn't on, given the fact that other teams, as you just mentioned, I didn't even know about that Manchester United thing.
Yeah,
200.
I only found that out in the last couple of days.
Again, you look at the teams that are involved, the names that are involved. Manchester United, not much. 250 grand to them is like $5 to me. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what it is. All right, then I'll pay that $5. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to hurt them at all. They probably won't even have to pay it. It's not coming out of anybody's pocket. Chelsea, again, winners, European Cup winners recently, and all the rest of the stuff with Jose Mourinho era, blah, blah, blah. So Manchester City, new kids on the block as such, but they are looking like they're going to be staying on the block. I personally think that the FA, I keep saying the FA because it's not really the FA in this sense, really. It's the Premier League. I think the Premier League are really concerned that if they don't take action, people will think they're all these times taking the piss. If they do take action, they can only take action on certain teams. And the reason I'm saying that is because let's say they did relegate Chelsea and they did relegate Manchester City. Both of those clubs have got enough clout and enough money to already start these rumblings, which we already know has been happening before, and somebody mentioned it, about the Super League. So they could quite easily say, well, we're not going to play in the bloody Championship or League One. AC Milan, do you know all that we was talking about? You know what we was talking about before? Maybe we can start. And they'll just go off and do their own thing, in my personal opinion. Hence the reason why I don't think anything's really going to come of this. Yeah, there might be some fines, but no one's going to get anything. No one's going to get put down in any leagues. The most you're going to get is some points deduction, but they'll choose those points deduction in a certain way. Maybe when Manchester City are like 15 points clear, let's give them a 10-point deduction. Also, we've only won the league by 5 points because we've got 2 games. That sort of contrived sort of thing that I can see happening. Chelsea, I don't know, but I just think it's just weird. Football is not in a good space, in my opinion. The games are getting longer. Someone's mentioned that game. It's like not 90 minutes anymore. You can't say it's going to finish at 5 o'clock or close to 5 o'clock, 10 to 5, what it used to be. Games are just going on. I just don't know what do you think some of the solutions could be? How do you think things could be? Because FFP was put in place for a reason, Sid, but it don't seem to be working. Do you think they need to start doing what they're doing in the likes of making examples as they did with Everton? Or do they just let them just get away with it and just say, well, it's for because of the money that's involved? Not that they're going to say it directly, but kind of almost allude to it by not doing anything. Is that the right way to go because of the money that's being brought in by these clubs? Mute, mate. You're mute.
If you're going to stop pulling these teams up for FFP and whatever, start from the very top. Because how many of them fuckers in FA are corrupt? Right? How many of them are corrupt? Guarantee you, majority of them are. Yeah? And it's like that little boys club, isn't it? They're all in that boys club. So they've all probably pulled together. They've all said, all right, let's do this. But like I said before, where does it stop? And all right, Everton have got 10 points. Then what they're going to do with Spurs? Are they going to give them a fine? Are they going to give them points? If so, how many points are they going to get? How does that work? Then obviously you then have got to look at City. You got to look at Chelsea. Well, hold on, they've already looked at them. How many years ago? No doubt them Arabs and the Russian billionaires have already put money in their pockets. They're probably not brown envelopes anymore. They're probably white envelopes, giving them to keep their mouth shut because they're probably paying them how much? Yeah. All this about what do you call it? The loan ruling. Everybody was against. Everybody was up for it to say, yeah, we'll stop players from coming back to their parent club, and now they've all voted against it. Are you telling me that all of a sudden all these other teams have said, all right, nah, we'll allow players to come? Because now, you know what's going to happen, don't you? The Saudis are going to buy all the players, make their club, their country massive football terms, pay stupid wages, and then send them players back to Newcastle, Man City and Chelsea and whatever. In January, when all the other teams are going to start losing players, these lot are going to become stronger. And you're telling me the FA are just going to sit there and allow that to happen? Of course they are. So it all starts from the top, man. You got to start looking at the top. But they're not. They're going to bypass that. They're going to forget about that. It's that secret tunnel, isn't it? They're going to go through that tunnel and you're going to bypass the FA. And then you're going to carry on everywhere else. And they're just going to carry on doing it. And I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And like Sean said, and I think like you said, we're not very well liked up there for whatever reason. Maybe Daniel Levy, maybe as a club, maybe what happened with Sugar, maybe Scholar. I don't know. But no matter what happens, we get dragged into the mud. Whether we're right or not, Spurs get dragged in. And if anything, we'll probably get a fucking 25-point deduction or something fucking stupid. But you know what? If that happens, then I'll just say to them, do you know what, guys? Football's done. Let's go start supporting something else.
Sorry to laugh. I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing at Simply Ace's comment here. If we get relegated, we may have a chance to win a trophy. We'll probably come second. That's probably what happened. We come second in the championship.
We'll win that. We'll win.
I remember us getting relegated in the 70s. We led that league for most of the season and finished up getting up in third place.
No, that'd be typical Spurs.
We'll even this trophy that we'll win when we get relegated, they'll come back to find out a reason why we shouldn't have won it, and they'll take that away from us as well.
Excuse my cough. That would be the funniest thing if we got relegated to the championship and came second. Imagine that. That would be so funny. It wouldn't be funny because we'd be crying because we're in the championship. But once we'd got over that and we're like, yeah, come on, we're gonna win this thing. We're gonna cakewalk it, and we came second. Imagine that. We came second to someone like, I don't know. Who can we think? I don't know who's gone down. Hull? Someone like that. I don't know. That'd be mad.
The only plus side I can say is that if Daniel Levy is allowed a transfer to go through with an unlicensed agent, is that a sackable offence? Is that a sackable offence? Maybe Levy will have to be removed. But of course, that will never happen.
That will never happen.
Exactly.
Them tracks have well been covered. This is 2007 we're talking about here. Even though it's been brought up now, the trail going back to who, they're not gonna. What they're gonna do to Harry Redknapp? He's a jungle king, isn't he? They can't do nothing to him. He's won the jungle. He's a national treasure. They're not gonna go after him. They can't do anything to Jermaine Defoe. Unlicensed agent. So it's going to have to come down onto the club, which is the club's responsibility, if that was to be the case. And I can't see them doing anything about it because of all the historical stuff that others have done. But if you are going to go back to 2007, you're going to have to look at a lot more stuff than 2007. Let me tell you that, because there was a lot of dealings going off there that was, it was just the nature of the game.
What was quite interesting as well, Sam, is that you know how we've now developed into this multi-club ownership thing. There was a big vote with the Premier League this week about whether players, could be moved between clubs within the same group. Yeah, like Newcastle and the Saudis. When Daniel Levy went to buy Tottenham, ENIC were actually ahead of the game when it came to multi-club ownership. They actually owned Slavia Prague and AEK Athens and Glasgow Rangers, and they were made to sell them.
That's right.
That's and right. Now everyone's, now that line's being moved. It's now moved that way, so City can own, teams in Japan and Australia and South America and Girona, who are now leading the La Liga in Spain. It's an absolute bloody nonsense. Absolute bloody nonsense. And if I was Levy, I would be putting in a counterclaim saying that you made us sell clubs and now you've got multi ownership. I tell you, this will finish up in the courts. And, the FA have got their priorities completely wrong because the real cheats are getting away with it. And teams who've done virtually nothing are getting hung, drawn and quartered. As I say, take away titles, heavy financial penalties, in worst case scenarios, relegation and proper relegation. So you can't just hop down to Championship and back into the promised land of the Premier League. Now get down to Division 3 and fight your way back through there. Now this is, it's honestly, they are killing this football. They're killing our sport. They've taken it away from working men and women. And, I've had enough of it. Referees too frightened to referee, or we'll just let Stockley Park make the decision for me. It's a nonsense.
The root of all this, though, in my opinion, and it's obviously a bit of a cliché, the root of it is money. Those guys at Stockley Park are shit scared to make decisions because they know the ramifications. Look what that decision that happened in the Liverpool game. That is even now there's still whisperings about, but the potential damage of that. Let's say Liverpool don't win a league by a point or whatever it is. Are they going to go back and say, well, that is a clear error, blah, blah, what? I don't know what it is a mess. It's a mess, and it's a mess because of the money that's involved. There's so much at stake here that some teams will almost do anything. Now, I'm not quite sure how the governing of this goes. Is it through the FA or is it the Premier League? Because the Premier League obviously own the Premier League, but the FA are the governing body as such. I don't know, So what jurisdiction do they have to be able to say to the Premier League, you need to do that? Because, they're the ones who are obviously paying these clubs. The Premier League have got an vested interest in that. They don't want to see their product be damaged in any way, as I've said, by taking certain clubs out of that and putting them into lower leagues. So there's going to be, hold on a minute, hey, time out, FA. What's going off here? So I'm not sure where all this is coming from. Is it a clean-up operation? The FA has always been an old boys club. For years, it's been an old boys club, and it still hasn't really changed that much. So I'm just not sure where this is all kind of coming to. Is it a statement of intent going forward? And if it is, then there's going to be a lot of things coming out. A lot of stuff. Let's have a look at a few comments here. The FA will be looking into all of Vinnie Jones' tackles and handing out fines for each one of them. We could start getting ridiculous. What's the point of Roy Keane's tackle on Haaland? We'll see Roy Keane punished with having to spend a year in prison. I was putting in my nappy in 1977. That's the year that our friend David Clark got married, by the way. David Clark got married. Congratulations.
Jubilee year as well.
That was the year of the relegation, yeah. Mm-hmm.
77. They're killing football. It's almost over. Spurs is now a club that's full of tourist fans. You're not allowed to fly the Greek flag. VAR is bullshit, and LGBTQ being shoved down our throats, plus revenue restrictions. You said it all there. There's so much in that. There's that one comment. There's so much in that, and a lot of that is true in life as it is with football. What else can we talk about? Because I'm bored of that. Nothing's going to happen. I personally believe if anything's going to come of that, we're going to get a fine. It might be a heavy fine. 250 grand is not a heavy fine. So if they've given that to Manchester United, circa the equivalent. But I don't know.
But by the way, that Manchester United one was by UEFA. So it was
Oh, really?
not the FA, yeah. So it was for infringements in Europe, you know. So,
Okay.
and of course, the FFP in Europe and the FA don't match up. So,
No.
you know, you could be infringement in the UK, but not in Europe. It's you know, it's one of those.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the governing bodies. Because
Yeah.
the Premier League ain't going to want to do any of it. They don't want to do nothing. They're not going to want to affect their product in any way, shape, or form. So they don't mind if Man City kick this can down the road. They don't care about. I personally don't think they care. They obviously want to have a reputation for their product, but they don't want to see their product damaged by not having the right personnel in there, because the Super League will be the next thing that happens. The Super League will be the next thing that happens. Do we need to take a stance like what Italy did? You know, they made sure that I know it was different things happening there, not so much the FFP side of things, but they came down hard on them. You know, Juventus, AC Milan, all come down. They came down hard. Do you think that should happen in the Premier League? Did the FA looking to do that sort of thing? Sid, do you think?
I don't know what they're looking at, but you know what they should do? I'll tell you what they should do, yeah? They should go to Man City. They should go to Chelsea. And I don't know whoever's the head of Chelsea at the FA, you should go to them and say, stand and deliver your cups or your titles. Give up one or the other, but I don't know. You know what?
No, I think, you know, if there's been cheating and they've won a title, just take it off them.
Of course.
Take it off them.
But they won't do it though. You know,
They won't do it though. They won't do it though.
Love said, innit? I would do anything for love, but we won't do that. You know, they won't take it away from them. They won't take away their breakaways. Going back to the 80s chocolate bars or whatever. Have you two seen the 15-minute video of Romero's red card, by the way, the VAR decision? I was watching that yesterday. Fucking hell. It's mental. They've looked at every single thing. They've gone, right.
They haven't though, Sid. I watched it. They never looked at Sterling's dive.
I know they haven't.
They've not mentioned a word about his dive.
No, but they did say Sterling's gone down, but they didn't say he's gone down like a sack of potatoes, like or whatever. They've just said, "Oh, Sterling's gone down. That's fine. Carry on. Let's look at his challenge." And then they said, "Right, let's look at that. Right, bring him back. Let's do this one. Right, that's done. Yeah, no, yeah. Look at his arm. Look at his backside. Is his legs offside? Is that offside? You know what I mean? I'm like, let's do the time warp. I was like, what the hell? Oh, it's a red card. That's definitely dangerous tackle. And I'm like, these lot, man, what on earth, man? I'm telling you.
I'm not watching it because I don't want to upset. I'm not going to upset myself by watching something that we can't change that now. But just to even hear what you guys have told me is enough for me to think, nah, I don't want to see that. It's right. It's irrelevant because they're not people who are. They might understand the game, but in that pressure situation, I've seen, you know, that Sky thing where you got, what's his name, that Dermot, the bald-headed one. He looks like Gollum as well. Dermot Gallagher. He's so, even when he's wrong, he doesn't want to admit that he's wrong, and that's one thing I can't really. Accept that they're not doing a good job at the moment, but you can't keep on defending some of the things that's being done in VAR. Because I think let's touch on a bit of VAR. We've had our fair share of VAR. We've had good sides of it. We've had bad sides of it. Obviously, in recent times, you know, some of the decisions that have been made have cost us and probably affected us quite a lot. But we've been on the good side of it as well. They need to do something about it. There has to be something. Time-wise, it's taking too long for something. In Europe, I see, you know, in that international game, there's some referees that are using this as almost like their stage to put themselves in the line of, here I am. Look at me. There was what I think it was which game was it? It might have been even the England game, the first England game. And it was just taking so long for certain decisions to be made in VAR, and then the referee was making almost like a real play of it. I'm now going to go over to the screen and do all this. Too much involvement for these people. Too much. They've been given too much power. We need to take some of this power back, but we do need to make sure the integrity of the game remains high. I'm not sure how to do that. One of the people saying, "Oh, we need to put more football people in there." Well, no, because they don't really want to be doing that. I wouldn't want to do that job. There's no thanks in it. Like they're saying, more football players, ex-football players should become referees. Why? Have you seen the amount of abuse referees get? Why would you do that? Why would you put yourself in that position? What you've got to do is pay these people properly, like how you would do in any walk of life. If you want the best, you don't pay peanuts to get the best. You pay good money because they're professionals. These people are being called professionals. And what's his name? There was one.
Jodi and Doyle.
No. I don't want to use the term. He's rotund. That's the word I'm going to use. He's vertically challenged and a bit rotund, and he seems like he can't keep up with play. His name has just slipped me. Someone just name some names, and I'll see if anybody can say. But he might be professional, but he's not fit enough to do the job. He can't keep up with play, in my opinion. There just needs to be something done that's gonna. Right, we're all going to agree upon. There's always going to be problems, even when it wasn't VAR. There was always going to be refereeing decisions, but. Do we have to accept that as being part of the game? Should we accept there are certain parts of the game that regardless of what we try and do technology-wise, there is always going to be a problem in there? And I think, because have you seen this offside thing that Wenger's proposed?
Yeah. The Wenger rule. Yeah. The Wenger boys are coming.
Talk to me about that, because I think that's bullshit. That's just bollocks.
Yeah.
It's bollocks.
But,
How can...
Well.
Go on. I want to hear Sean's first.
I've interpreted it, and I could be wrong. But it's actually giving the benefit of the doubt to the attacker.
yes.
And if he's only offside if there's clear daylight between the two, between the attacker and the whereas at the moment, they go down to fingernails and bloody heels and elbows and what have you. Whereas if it's and it would have mean, for example, that Son's goal would have stood against Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And to me, that was right in the spirit of the game, because we were absolutely bossing that game at that point, and we were 2 goals better than them. And yet now it's whatever happened. It was called off. It was marginal, to say the least. A bit like that Casida's goal was. It was marginal. It went through the guy's legs, but I don't think Vicario was getting that. It was right in the corner. So, it was. I don't know. It's. I don't know. I thought it was maybe a solution, but the trouble is, and Danny Kelly has said it on Talk Sport and that. He said as soon as he found out that it was referees marking the homework of referees, he knew it was a disaster. He didn't even have to see it in operation, because it's their mates. They aren't going to do their mates in.
They're not. So
you need completely independent people in VAR, people who've gone through maybe referee training but haven't been haven't done refereeing with the players, the officials that they're marking. But it's not going to happen. You know what? It's like Ange said that night. He said, I'd like to go back to where we just accept that sometimes we get decisions wrong and sometimes we get, and I feel the integrity of the game. Too much of football is subjective. You can't have black and white over some things which are subjective, like handball. What's handball? What's not handball? Just let the referee make the decision on the field of play. You win some, you lose some. We always used to say it evens itself out over a season. No, it doesn't. Because you've now got Liverpool who've had some very marginal decisions in their favour since the time they came to our place. And all you need, and Arsenal will probably be the same after putting in their protest. It's brought out the worst elements in humanity, the VAR, and I'd rather go back to where the referee makes a decision on the day. Goal line technology works perfectly. Keep that. But, this, drawing lines and, it's just...
But why is it you've got every other sport where football's supposed to be the sport, best in the world, simply the best, better than all the rest, right? Yet rugby and other places, American football, everybody else, their VAR and everything else, it's flawless. No problems. No issues.
Yeah, but the difference is that they're sports that stop. They have breaks in them.
Yeah.
So,
I was just saying, sure, you continue your point. The other thing about American sports is there's no relegation and promotion. it's a franchise, so they're all going to stay in there. It just rotates. So in basketball, and I love basketball, but if you come bottom, you're probably going to get the best draft pick the next season. It works like that, so they can keep the competition going. And the way they've done it, money's still coming in. They're making a lot of money. So it's a closed shop as such, unless you create a new franchise. Because of the pyramid system in football and because of the consequences, I think that's causing a problem as well. Hence the reason why I think there's more and more likelihood that a Super League of such that becomes a closed shop will happen. I don't think it's good for the game, but I can understand how it could be good for the game, if that makes sense.
But you even talk like the cricket, IPL, and the rugby. You tell the crowd what's going on. You talk. You can listen. You can see the replays, and you can see what's going on. Yeah. Here, people are on their phones watching the live game or ringing their mates to say, "What happened? What happened? Tell me." You know what I mean? They should be letting us know. They should be talking us through what's going on, but they don't want to because they're fucking scared shitless. Yeah. You're in the power of authority. You're making a decision, like you said, Sam, that could cost potentially someone relegate. It could cost them relegation, promotion, cup, whatever. Yeah. Talk through the process. It's a process. Talk it through. Tell them what you're doing, so everybody knows what you've done, how you've done it. Not guesstimate what happened, why it happened. Oh no, you've done it because you're a Liverpool fan, or you've done it because you don't like Tottenham. Talk it through, so we'll all sit there, we'll listen to it and think, right, okay, you're still cunts, but okay, that's fine. You know what I mean?
I don't even know if they want to hear. I don't even know if we'd want to hear, because we've had a couple of examples where we've heard some of what's been going off at VAR. The Liverpool one, when I heard that, they just looked like what they didn't. It was confusing for one thing, so I didn't know what was happening. They didn't seem to know what was happening because the communication between the on-field and the off-field, it wasn't great because obviously it wasn't the right decision. So I think they're scared of that. They're scared of, all right then, now we're actually listening to what you're saying. Oh, what's he talking about? And that could open up more potential criticism for them. I agree with you what they said. The way they do it in cricket, as it touched, they got the nick, blah, blah, blah. That's now a matter of fact with cricket in terms of, is that a no ball? Has it got a nick? LBWs again could be a little bit subjective, but if the way they use the cameras and it's going to hit the wicket again, you could say, yep, that's definitely. But football, a foul could be not a foul in somebody else's eye. I know we've got all this about reckless and endangerment and all the rest of it, and sometimes it's like, but there's been a couple of incidents this season where I've seen fouls which I'm thinking, that's a terrible one. And people are saying, well, no, Gary Neville said, no,
that Kai Havertz challenge on Joe Linton in the Newcastle game.
Yeah.
That's a red card every day and twice on a Sunday.
Wild.
And
it's wild.
Oh, God.
That's what I'm saying. So this is where the problem is, because you mentioned that word subjective. It's a decision based on what your opinion is at that time. And the more people that have the opinions, the less likelihood is you're going to get to the right opinion. It should be down to the referee to make that final decision. But if he's getting, hold on a minute, he's made a decision. Oh, you might want to go and check the monitor. Oh, this is what I'm thinking. Oh, fuck, I'm fucked up here. That's what I'm thinking immediately in my head. If I've made a decision on the field, but then someone in my VAR said, you might need to go and look. Oh, fuck off. So then when you go over to the screen, it's going to take a whole set of bollocks not to then change your decision.
How many times has a referee gone to the monitor and stuck with the original decision?
Not many.
I reckon a handful of occasions. I mean, how many times is VAR used every week?
Again, exactly the point. Games are now 100 minutes plus. That shows you everything about what's going on in the game.
Do you know what? I don't mind the time. I don't mind the time being added on. I don't, because that, we were getting a raw deal. There was only 43 minutes of played football in that Spurs-Chelsea game recently. 43 minutes out of 100 plus.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Was that? Wow. I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's madness. It's absolute madness. I don't mind them adding on time, because when teams like Sheffield United come and the goalkeeper lies on the ball and rolls about like he's on the beach in bloody Mallorca, then all well and good that the referee's adding time on. But come on.
Am I right in thinking? Both of you can answer, but I don't really got. Are they thinking of doing sin bins in football? Because that's one of the things that I think might get us over these decisions about red, orange, yellow sort of thing. Where sometimes you think that's a red, but not everybody's of the same opinion. Right, so we're not quite sure here. Let's give him an orange, send him off at what, 15 minutes, 10 minutes? I don't know what the time span would be, similar to how they do in other sports, hockey, blah, blah, blah. They have sin bins. Do you think that's something that's viable, football?
Bollocks. They ain't got the bottle to fucking give somebody an orange card. You might as well give them, you might as well say, oranges and lemons at the Belfast St. Clements. No chance.
Made me bloody cough there.
They bottle yellow cards, they bottle red cards in big games, like Sean said. How the fuck are you going to give someone an orange card?
But it might be easier to do that because you don't want to send him off, but you're thinking, is that a bad enough challenge to send him off? Then you might bottle it to an orange. That's what I'm just thinking. And
it might have a benefit to the player that gets the orange card because he might calm down.
Yeah, but then
usually it's got a bit frantic, And I still go back that Chelsea game. Reece James should have been red carded for his elbow on Destiny.
Yeah,
he should have been red carded. It was as plain as day.
But if you start giving orange cards, right, you're gonna have to start abandoning games because you'll have free sides at some games, like that Tottenham Chelsea game. You'll end up having.
We'll still play a high line.
Yeah.
Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer. It will just have Eric Dyer and Vicario on the pitch.
All joking aside, we've got to do that preview tomorrow. We can discuss that in further detail then. I don't really want to think of the high line with 3 players and Eric Dyer being one of them. That is suicide football. But no, I think any rule that gets brought out will be exploited. That's what people do. That's what teams will do. They'll try to exploit any rule change. You can see any rule change that's been brought into the game has been exploited to the benefit of those that are playing. The back pass rule that the goal kicks, that was one of the ones where you had to be outside the box. So they used to exploit that. I remember teaching that in his coaching because the ball had to go outside the box. If you thought you was under pressure, just step inside the box and receive the ball, and then they have to take the kick again. So you exploit rules. So they changed that. So now it's just, how can we now exploit? That's all it's going to be. So I'm not saying an orange card is definitely the way forward, but it could have been so that we wouldn't have ended up with 9 players because the Doji could have gone as an orange and he gone off for 50 minutes. Could have been a big difference for the game. But there's arguments about that player standing around for more than X amount of time.
David is absolutely spot on there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Van der Ven's injury was down to the fact that he was standing around for 9 minutes.
Yeah.
9 minutes. The first time he's called into action, he's running back and ping. It's a nonsense. It's a nonsense.
That will only encourage players to foul more if they know they can get away with an orange card. Yes, it could. But if they do, let's say that referees can make decisions about that, right? Then you get an orange card. Then you can see them. I'm trying to think how I could do it. If teams deliberately start doing that, maybe if you have more than 1 player sent off, let's say it's 2 players on an orange, then after that, the 3rd player has got 5 more minutes on top. Do you know what I'm saying? To discourage that. So you might get 15 minutes initially, but if you have more than 2, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, it goes up, I don't know, by 5 minutes.
Yeah, but their 15 minutes would be concurrent anyway, wouldn't they? So they would.
Yeah, but let's say, because what I'm thinking is it will just encourage players to get away if they think, but if there's more than a number of players doing it in the same team, then just increase the amount of time that they have to be on the bench for. I don't know. I'm just trying to work out how we can do it. I don't know.
Then will orange become the new black, or will it be orange? Orange becomes red, or is it orange becomes yellow? You know what I mean?
I'm looking at my watch now. I think it's time to wrap up. After Sid's coming out with some of these, it's finally time to get on. It's time for me to
someone with an Irish Catholic background like me always has a problem with the colour orange, but we won't go there,
There you go.
Orange is the new black. Last comment here. What's the point, FC? I can see an electronic neck brace being introduced to the player, which will shock the player every time which will shoot the player every time they commit a foul or when a player talks back to the ref. This football's a joke at the moment. Why don't we have any judges on the sideline and giving scores for dives and tackles? It's getting that way. You know what I mean?
Artistic merit, yeah.
we are getting that way.
Which one are we gonna have? Are we gonna have Strictly ones or the X Factor ones? 7 or the
Oh dear, it's a good job we can laugh. Yeah, well, we've obviously got a game coming up on Sunday. Big weekend this weekend of games. You know, kicks off with
Massive
Manchester
there's
City,
some
Liverpool.
big games this weekend.
Big games. Brentford, Arsenal. Obviously, Tottenham versus Aston Villa. There's another game that was another big game. Hold on, I'm going to get the things up. Oh,
Question is,
1 second.
a question for you both. Who's gonna bite first? Man City or Liverpool, because they've got a 12:30 kickoff when one of them loses. Because you know someone's gonna kick off and say, "Why was he 12:30 when we've had an
If Liverpool lose, that's Jurgen Klopp.
Oh yeah, that's Jurgen Klopp all day. All day.
It wasn't bright enough. They should have put the floodlights on. It didn't rain. Whatever it is, he'll come out of everything. I think Pep will be just like, well, whatever, because he knows that, you know. But I don't expect Pep to lose at home.
No.
But I'm not quite sure what's going to happen this weekend. I'm sorry, I can't even bloody get all the.
So yes, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. I can't remember. Arsenal, Brentford, Man United are playing Everton.
Brentford, Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool,
Manchester United, Everton. Everton who've got a fire up their arse because they've just had 10 points deducted off them.
Yeah.
Oh, don't fancy that.
I know.
Thanks, Simply. It's great show, lads. Always a pleasure listening to you, lads. And are you laughing at us? What's the point of this? Are you laughing at other things that's going on? Don't be laughing at us, mate. All right? I ain't joking. Sid, tell them about tomorrow preview show if you want.
Yes, so tomorrow's Friday, lads and ladies, and everybody who's watching. And it's the preview show, Tottenham versus Aston Villa on Sunday. So 7 o'clock on the dot, clicking around. Make sure you're here. We'll be previewing it. Sean might not be available.
I'm taking the weekend off. I'm doing Judge Jodi on Monday.
There you go. He's taking the weekend off. Taking the week because he's a weekend boy. Anyway, so me and Sam
people join in tomorrow.
And it'll be we'll go through it. It's gonna be. I reckon that's gonna be a mad game on Sunday. Tottenham Villa.
It's a mad weekend. Like I said, again, being at home and we can take advantage of it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Join us for the stats, and most importantly, who's gonna be centre back Sunday? Centre back Sunday. That's what we should call it now. Centre back Sunday. Roll up. Who's it gonna be?
I'm more concerned who's going to be midfield after the wishy-washy performance we did at Wolves.
That's why you've come to watch tomorrow, because my team's already done for the Sunday game. My predicted lineup.
I'm gonna have to think about this one because I think there's going to be a few changes as well. Personally, okay, that's cool. Thank you guys. Thank you. Go on.
I was going to say, Ange's press conference tomorrow afternoon will give us some insight.
Well, Destiny's back anyway, so that's good. 100%. But then, you're right. We'll see what else.
I am wondering if his honesty, because he's very honest, is Mr. Postecoglou. Is his honesty going to catch up with him at Spurs? Obviously, at Celtic, because it's one of two teams, I think he could do that. And I know he's been doing this all his career, but this is the Premier League. I'm not saying he should lie. Don't get me wrong, but he's very open. And I think the press are beginning to cotton onto this now. So they're getting a lot out of him about team and who's available. I don't want him to be too devious, but I want him to start pulling a little. I'm not sure.
Get away! You want him to be pure Arsene Wenger? Oh no, these not. And then suddenly on the Saturday, they're all in the bloody team, right?
I wanted to say something like someone to ask him, is it dodgy player? Oh, you know what?
Touch and go.
It is a bit. And then he plays like. I want him to do things like that just to kind of keep people guessing. But he's clued up. I know he knows how to play this music, so I'm not really worried about that. Anyway, that's enough of that. Join us tomorrow for that. Like, subscribe, comment. Paxton Road TV, PRTv. What else are we called? We call so many things these days. They call that many things these days, but you'll find us on YouTube somewhere.
Only the things that we can broadcast.
So that's enough. Okay, thank you very much, Sean. Thank you very much, Sid. Unfortunately, we didn't see Pav tonight. She must be busy. Darius was playing football, and Jodi's not too well. So yeah, we've got a few people there, but we can't have too many on here. So these. What do we call ourselves? the something trio. What do you want to call it? I don't know.
Trio.
Again,
The Three
Here
Musketeers.
I come, me wanna go home.
The Kingston Trio, man. No.
I think I need to go now. I really do need to go now. It's time. We've overstayed our welcome. We're starting to get accents and everything, people. So it's time to go. It's definitely time to go. Right, find the music. It's somewhere here.
Because my tea's
It's the
gone
reaction.
cold.
It's the thanks for the 23-24 season. As created by the one and only Sid. It's a drum and bass tune. It's rude. It's rude, fam.
More developed football, more developed football.